But finally, the papers are signed and Hooter got his Benjamins and is getting ready to make it rain all over his wife. But with the pamphlet on his mind on the Nosferatu, things started getting weird. I mean really weird. The film begins with a man named Hooter who is preparing to go to work, which will eventually set him off on a journey to meet with a new client who wants to purchase a home in their area. This wealthy client is from Transylvania and his name is Count Orlok. Looking to bring in a lot of money, Hooter tells his wife about the job and she gets a bad feeling in her gut and does not want him to go. But with so many Benjamins on the line that can help their family, Hooter leaves his wife with one of his rich friends and goes off to meet with the client so that he can sign the property contract for his estate. On his journey, he stops by an inn and mentions that he's going to Count Orlok's castle, which has everybody shitting bricks. He is told to not go there, where they mention something about a werewolf that roams the woods. Now, when I read that line, everything started to make sense. Turning in for the night, Hooter discovers a pamphlet warning him about the Nosferatu vampire. Of course he thinks nothing of it as he prepares for tomorrow to bring in the big bucks. Hooter would, in the morning, hitch a ride with a cabbie who only takes him part of the way because the cabbie believes that the land further yonder is cursed. So because Hooter got a job to do, he travels the rest of the way on foot and meets with a mysterious cabbie along the way, who takes him to the castle grounds. Hooter arrives and sees this tall and skinny guy walk towards him from the shadows, and it is none other than the Count himself. Orlok takes Hooter in for a bite to eat while he reads over everything, but homie cuts himself with a knife, which gets the Count very excited. Hooter is scared shitless and is told to sit on this chair on the side to rest, and he does this until morning. Just look at him! Who sleeps like that? He wakes up and finds marks on his neck? The f***? There isn't enough gold on this earth to make me do this shit. What's weird is that during the morning, no one is around the castle. I mean nobody. Not a creature was stirring except for the mailman. Now Hooter and Orlok are going over the paperwork to sign this sale agreement, and Orlok notices a locket with a picture of Hooter's wife. And he gets the same look in his eyes like before. This movie could have been called Blood and Bitches and it still would have worked. But we ended up with that Snoop Dogg vampire movie. But finally, the papers are signed and Hooter got his Benjamins and is getting ready to make it rain all over his wife. But with the pamphlet on his mind on the Nosferatu, things started getting weird. I mean really weird. Hooter is now dealing with Orlok, who is now displaying magic powers. Meanwhile, his wife is waking up and going through some episodes in the middle of the night. The next day, Hooter wakes up and eventually finds a coffin with Count Orlok in it that scares the bejesus out of him. Eventually, he notices Orlok's body in a crate being taken somewhere while Hooter is stuck in this damn castle. So he tries to escape down the window, but homie fell and got unconscious. His body was found near the water by some farmers. When he came to, he feared that the information on the pamphlet was starting to come true. Meanwhile, back in Hooter's homeland, we notice that his boss has been committed to a hospital, and I'm sure a lot of us wouldn't disagree with that sentiment. Also, Hooter's wife is distressed. While all of this was happening, a ship was on its way to Hooter's homeland, and weird shit was happening the entire time. People were getting sick and becoming delirious the entire voyage. People were dying and their corpses were being thrown off the boat. One of the sailors goes into the cargo area and opens up a crate full of rats. Bro, this is why every home needs to have glue traps. And then this skinny ass motherfucker right here with nails that would put Cardi B to shame hovers out of the box and attacks the sailor, who then jumps overboard. Only one was left, and I'm not sure if that's luck at this point. Ellen continues to have her episodes, but Hooter ends up coming home. For a while, there's comfort. I say a while because then the ship with Orlok on board arrives. Meanwhile, Hooter's boss attacks one of the workers at the hospital. Then we see Orlok carry his coffin to his new home. Bro, if I saw this, I'm not staying in town for the entire night. But things get worse. A group of people investigate the ship Orlok came to shore on and found a dead sailor on board. Upon reading the ship's log, everyone got sick of the plague, where the citizens of the town issued a warning for everyone to close their doors and windows and to not leave their homes for any reason. Ellen ends up reading the pamphlet that Hooter warned her not to read, seeing that it was the cause of what he refers to as hallucinations. Listen, there isn't enough money on this earth to make me do this job, but if I had gone through bite marks and levitating old guys, the last thing I'm going to think is a book is giving me hallucinations. But here's what's crazy. Upon reading the pamphlet, Ellen tells Hooter that what she had just read, she's been seeing every day. She points outside and across from them is this old house and Count Orlok is just looking in through the window. That's some scary shit. Like, this actually brought back a memory based off this movie from an old TV series called Are You Afraid of the Dark? There was this one episode where this kid was working at the movie theater and he fell asleep through what actually looks like a remake of Nosferatu. At the end, the vampire bites someone and the movie ends. While this scene was happening, the kid fell asleep in the theater, but here's what's wild. After the vampire on screen bit the person to end the movie, the vampire breaks the fourth wall, walks towards the camera, and then walks through the movie screen. Dude, as a kid, I was freaking the fuck out. The kid wakes up, and as he finishes his night shift at the movies, you could see these hands with the long ass Megan Thee Stallion fingernails around the corner. I first saw this show with the lights off and my house was empty, so I was freaking out the entire time until my parents came home. Now, as it turned out, the house that Orlok bought was right across from Hooter's. And that was the plan the entire time. The townspeople are now after the vampire who they believe caused the plague, but the entire time they are chasing the wrong person. They were hunting Hooter's boss, who escaped the hospital, who they believe was the vampire. Just look at him! On some Fiddler on the Roof bullshit. They chase him, and meanwhile we have this stalker ass son of a bitch casting spells on Ellen from out the window, entrapped by his enchantment. Hooter ends up putting Ellen to bed while Orlok crosses the street to lurk and sneak for Ellen. Mind you, this is a silent movie, so I can't tell whether he wants to kill her or get some pussy. Orlok ends up nibbling on Ellen's neck, Hooter's boss gets captured, and then the sun comes up. Orlok forgot what time it was and was turned to ash. Now, Ellen is free and she called out for her husband, but sadly she dies, a tragic end in a very tragic story. So how does the 2024 version of the tale fare in today's landscape? Well, let's explore that with this next video.